Hello, I'm Becky. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you my favourite brownie recipe. There are lots of them around and it's a bit of trial and error to find the best, and so I've done that for you. This one has been used for all sorts of purposes, weddings, birthdays. It's even been sent in the post to friends who aren't very well, so I promise you it is a really good one. Now this is the tin I'm going to use. It's a Traybake tin. It's not non-stick, but even if it was, I would still line it with greaseproof paper. And the way to do that is to not use too much paper. You want enough that just comes up the sides and stands a little bit over the edge of the tin. So I'm going to cut about here. Now the next thing to do is to mark the corners of your tin on the paper. It's a little bit hit and miss, and I've got curved corners, so that makes it even harder. Now we take our scissors and we cut from the point of the paper to the mark that you've made. And then we fold each of these flaps in, like that. Right, so to stop the paper from moving around in the tin, we need to grease the tin, and I prefer to use a little bit of margarine. You can use oil and a brush. You want a bit in the bottom, but it's the sides that matter most, because you don't want the paper to fall in on the top of your cake. So a little bit in the middle to hold it still, and then do the sides better. Spend a little bit of time just making sure that it fits, it goes more or less into your corners, and that your sides are held up by the grease on the tin, and that's ready. Right, on to mixing the cake. Now for this we use the all-in-one method. We put everything in the bowl together, and I've got it standing on a rubber mat so it doesn't slide around. But we have got 275 grams of soft margarine. Oh. And then we have got 100 grams of chocolate chips, and they can be either white ones, milk ones, plain ones, or a mixture. Add to that 75 grams of cocoa. If you're working in ounces, remember that 25 grams is approximately an ounce. We're then going to have self-raising flour, 100 grams of self-raising flour. And last of all of the dry ingredients, it's the sugar. Don't be alarmed, this is 375 grams. It's a lot, but you're not going to eat all this brownie yourself, so hopefully if you share it, you're only getting a proportion of that sugar. But it's the sugar that makes it keep so well. This will keep in an airtight tin for 5 to 7 days, unless your family eat it first. Now we're going to add the eggs. You always put the eggs in last, because the minute that the moisture of the eggs touches the self-raising flour, it starts to give off its raising agent, the carbon dioxide. So you want to lose as little as possible, so you put the eggs in last. And we've got 4 eggs. Crack them one at a time into a bowl. Check there's no shell. And in they go. Right, so we're ready to mix. I'm using a hand mixer simply because you can see better what I'm doing. If I use my stand mixer, it has a stainless steel bowl and you won't be able to see in, so that's why I'm using a hand mixer. But if you've got a big stand mixer, certainly use that. Watch out for clouds. Here we go, it's going to be noisy. That's lovely. Now I'm going to clean off the beaters so I don't waste anything. Right, into the tin. So, I've got the oven on to gas mark 4. In fact, because I know my oven quite well, it's on at 4.5, but it needs to be a moderate oven in old-fashioned terms. Just go round and make sure everything's mixed, and then get it into the tin. Now it's heavy because you've got a lot of ingredients here, so I'm going to do it this way. Now, let's put it down and have a bit of a scoop round. I'll use my finger, but I'm not going to lick it. I don't approve of licking fingers when you've got raw egg. It's a habit that children will copy, and it's not a good habit because you don't want to put mouth germs back into the cooking. Right, I think that'll do it. Now we spread that so it fits and fills the tin. Give it a turn. I should clarify that this tin, a Traybake tin, measures about 21 centimetres by 32 centimetres. That sort of size. If yours isn't exact, it doesn't matter. If it's a deep tin though, be careful because it will take longer to cook. The sides will act as a shield to the cake and it will take a bit longer. That's going to go in the oven now for between 40 and 45 minutes. Smells wonderful. Looks good. Now to test it's done, I'm going to use my favourite skewer in a hole that's already there. There's a little bubble that's popped, so I'm going to go in there, down to the bottom and pull it out. Nothing on there. So that's done. That needs to cool, I would say, for at least 10 or 15 minutes before you attempt to take it out of the tin. So put it on a cooling rack and be patient. So at least 10 minutes, and it may sink a little bit, but that's okay. Now it's had time to cool. It's still quite warm, but we're going to take it out of the tin. So I've got my cooling rack ready. I'm going to move this to one side and I'm going to get hold of the paper, give it a wiggle, make sure it's loose, and lift it onto the cooling rack. Then just unpeel the corners. And we can cut it. Now, it's up to you how big or how small you make your pieces. I tend to cut twice here to give me 3 columns, and then 6 going that way. So here goes, ready? That's 18 pieces obviously. So good sharp knife with a long blade makes it a smoother cut. So that's my 3 columns. Now I'm going to swing it round. Cut it in half. I wish you could smell this, it's amazing. And then I'm going to go here and here. Now I'd leave that until it's really cold to take it out. You will need to kind of scrape it off the grease proof. But you can see that we've got a lovely, moist, quite dense brownie. There's our chocolate brownie. I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a go at it. I'm sure you'll find that there'll be plenty of people who'll really appreciate this one. So feel free to like, share and subscribe, and then you'll get to hear what we're going to make next. Bye for now.